Yeah. It's always good to hear that.
Arbitrage. How you going, Nate?
I'm doing good, man. How you been?
Good. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate that. I know that Chris is super busy. He can't be here today because he's got the OA challenge cranking. That thing is going ballistic.
Oh, but here he is in the comments. What up, Christopher? Hey, Christopher, if you are watching, will you do me a favor and grab a link and share it in the FBA Today group? I could try to do it too if I can't. Jessica, what's up, Jessica? What's up, Lam? It is a headbanger. It is a headbanger. Yeah.
You know that that introduction gets flagged by Facebook every single week. So every single time that we do it, then they say your video is not allowed to be shown on Facebook. They remove it from Facebook for about 10 days while they review that 15 seconds of audio to make sure that it's not a 15 seconds of, you know, some mainstream band or something like that.
It's pretty radical. You know, my first thought would be, how could he afford such banging music? This guy has to have stolen this because there's no way that someone in their right mind would let him just take such radical jams.
And yet, here we are.
Every week. Try to be every week. It's not every week.
Yazid is in the house. Hey, Yazid.
Yazid. I feel bad at the messing these names up left and right.
Is it Yazid or Yazid? Yazid?
I feel like every week we make people explain the how to enunciate their names too. What was the guy? We had someone who it was like a Sean that was spelled weird.
There is a Comcast ad on TV that uses the exact same chime as the alert bell on TA. Oh, this is the new tactical arbitrage feature which tells you when you've made a sale, and it Pavlov's me in a bad way. I can imagine it would. In a good way, though. It's like, I've made a sale. Oh, but then it's a bad way because you haven't.
Endorphins. Hey, man, take the endorphins how you can get them. As long as you aren't like doing something every time you get a sale. Lighting money on fire.
News over there. How's you guys have got a few things coming up soon. You're right in the middle of the same pandemic we are, although we're kind of fumbling our way through it over here. I'm in Queensland, and we have I say that every week, but every week there's some small differences because we really got close to 0 cases, and then we had some girls decide to lie on their border passes to cross the border from Victoria, which is a real hotspot for COVID. And so they lied because they wanted to come up to Queensland just to hang out, and they were young, like 19-year-old girls. Came up to Queensland and lied on the border passes about where they'd been, etc. And they had COVID-19, and so they ended up spreading it, started a new cluster. So they were like public enemy number one for a while. Everybody was saying some pretty nasty things about these girls who just wanted to do the self-entitled thing and just come and do their own thing. And now we're trying to contain a new outbreak just from these girls. But they were actually named and shamed, which I was surprised about. Normally they keep that sort of stuff under wrap, but they plastered their faces all over the newspaper. One of the local papers put public enemy number one with their faces right on the paper. I thought, oh no, sucks to be them right now, but you know, that's
gonna follow them forever, man. That's a big whoops-a-doodle.
It's pretty bad. Yeah,
everybody makes mistakes, but not to the same degree. We can't.
Well, the story was like, it kept on unfolding. It turned out, so I don't want to like say anything that's not like got the word allegedly in front of it, but basically they were alleging that the girls had flown down there just so that they could shoplift from high-end stores like the Louis Vuitton bags and that kind of thing as part of this kind of shoplifting racket. And then they came back up, I don't know, after doing whatever they do down there. And so, yeah, they weren't necessarily good people to begin with.
See, we were close to 0 cases back in like December, you know, and ever since then it's been, you know, not like that. I don't know what we do if we were down to 0 and then something like that happened in the United States. I feel like Australia would be way cooler about it than we would be here collectively.
Well, it's mostly good, but just, I mean, we're so strict on the restrictions, which is good, and it's been working for us. We've kept our cases really low because we jump on it so fast. But so the reason why I kind of got so annoyed at these girls is they came up and they started spreading it around, and so they immediately sent us into another level of restrictions, which made them cancel the amount of people you were allowed in your house at any one time. So my daughter's 3rd-year-old party, which did have 30 people coming to it this weekend, we had to cancel because it's now a maximum of 10 people in your house. And I think that's including the people who live in your house. So it'd be just like a couple of people coming over, and it wasn't worth it. We couldn't pick and choose. So we've had to cancel her event completely. And it's all because of the actions of just a few bad eggs.
It's intense.
So, yeah.
I grew up in a family with 8 brothers and sisters. There would have been more than 10 of us.
Oh, you would have had to kick family out.
No, yeah, we had 11. Somebody would have had to go, and I think that probably would have ended up being me. I'm pretty positive it would have been me.
Well, fingers crossed. And I won't get into politics, but I sort of see you guys have got like a bunch of, you got like elections coming up, and that looks fun.
Oh yeah.
There's no way I can sort of go into that conversation without entering risky territory, because there's some pretty heated opinions I'm seeing on Facebook.
Oh, there's only heated opinions these days, it seems.
I swear, if it wasn't for work related reasons, I would unplug Facebook, because some of the stuff that I'm just seeing on my regular wall, if I could like log into Facebook and it only took me to my Facebook group, my business group, and I could bypass the wall completely, I would, because there's a lot of really, I guess, just cancerous stuff just piling on the wall, and very heated opinions.
There's a good plugin, Chrome plugin or Chrome extension called Newsfeed Eradicator, and it blocks everything in the newsfeed. You have to run it in Chrome, and it might slow down the device just a little bit, but I use it periodically. And I deleted Facebook on my phone, which has helped a little bit, but I just find myself playing Wordscapes a lot more now. So I kind of just
getting into that Major League Baseball game, weren't you, for a while?
Yeah, I've been trying to cut back on that because I was spending real life money in it too much, and I'm like ashamed of how much money I've spent on pretend baseball. And I think that baseball season being like, well, it started now, but it's been so like not the same as regular baseball, and I just needed some sort of baseball in my life. Yeah, oh, dude, and like, it's embarrassing. And then it's a genius game. They get you to spend and spend and spend. I just spend money on it like all day. Like, it's so bad. So I've been playing Wordscapes now, trying to really trying to get rid of the games entirely. But
is Wordscape something that we can play? Like
that's Words with Friends. I think Wordscapes is more of a single thing. I'll play you in Words with Friends though.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that.
Let's get into the show. We've covered local news. I haven't covered too much in the way of Amazon news. Amazon is crushing right now. People are making bank. Christopher Grant's got his OA challenge going, which is getting massive numbers of people signing up to it. I think the FBA landscape right now is just humming along. We've been doing well at TAs.
Hummingbird theme. It's on brand.
We've been doing well here, but as people want to jump into TA, it just sort of opens up more and more sort of newbie questions. So these late night with tactical arbitrages are more important than ever for people to shout out their questions and comments. And I want to dive into a few things today that we haven't covered in much detail in the past, and that includes library. We can have another little revisit of flips. There's something I wanted to cover in wholesale. I wanted to touch on always be scanning again, but most importantly, I wanted to open up to any questions and answers that people might have, especially those who are just sort of starting out. And I appreciate when seasoned FBA users, or tactical arbitrage users, I should say, jump in and field some comments and questions as well. Because, for example, in Chris's courses and Tactical Academy, for example, he's always looking at how to use the software from an angle that even I might not have considered when I was first building it. He sort of worked out a way, well, if we triangulate this filter with this filter and this filter, then we can get a different set of results if we use these other filters here. And so I think it's always good when other people sort of jump in and don't just let Nate and myself run the show. But if you're cool, I'm going to share my screen and we can talk about a few of the other modules and field a few questions in there.
Let's do it.
Let me just share the screen, application window. Okay, so this is my search manager right now. So at the moment I have, sorry, I got a little bit of an allergy. We have a plant or a tree growing here because it's just this house. Since I moved into this house, I get this cough in late August, early September every year, and it's got to be something, one of the plants, one of the jacaranda trees or something around here that's causing it. We still haven't gotten to the bottom of it. All right, so this is my search manager page, and currently I have a few searches going on there. And if you're unfamiliar with the search manager page, you've got a few tabs up here. You've got your queued searches. You've got some recently completed searches. You've got some saved searches that you may want to rerun. And you've got some scheduled searches where you can actually set a scan to run periodically. And you should definitely be using these. The scheduled scan's an excellent one to use if you're, for example, wanting to keep on top of, say, a target scan, for example, once a week. You can set it to rerun the search. And you can set it to auto run the search. And in this auto run settings page here, you can set it based on your time zone, the start date, and how often you want it to run, the frequency of running. And you can set that to run daily, monthly, or weekly is quite a common one to run there as well. So make sure you use those because it saves you a whole lot of going back in and setting up your scans over and over, particularly if it's the same parameters every single time. Too many people live just in the queued page and they forget that the other pages are there to run those scans as well. So the ones that I've got running at the moment are a library search, an Amazon Flips search, and a wholesale search. And I've kept it pretty simple here. I've just picked a arts and photography category for books. For Flips, I've got some toys and games stuff going on. And for wholesale, I just did a little bit of a fun thing here because I think people forget that you can use tactical arbitrage for private label hunting as well. So one of the old types of products that people used to do, and it got saturated really quickly, was garlic presses, and it became even a bit of a meme in the FBA community or the private label community that garlic presses were the joke product, because it was when private label became sort of a thing. I guess those that were doing courses and coaching and guruing, or whatever you want to call it, were using garlic press as an example of a profitable item. And so everybody who was just jumping in for the first time, Michael Cook says, I wasn't able to access this on Facebook. Are you able to see this streaming on Facebook, Nate? By the way? Oh, I can't hear you. So let me just add you back.
There you
You
are.
can see it on Facebook?
I'm trying it right now. I deleted Facebook from my phone, so I can't open it.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, it should be running.
Which it depends which group he's in. If it's FBA Today, that might be the problem.
If it's in, oh, did you actually say it would be showing on FBA Today as well?
Christopher shared it for me in FBA Today. Yeah, I do see this stream in the Tactical Arbitrage group.
Yeah, I can see that Lam has commented from Facebook as well. Anyway, I'll go back to this, but if you continue to have any more problems, Michael, then yeah, let me know for sure. So we've got to get a bit creative. We haven't added a private label module to Tactical Arbitrage, and I want to throw the word yet in there because we are always evolving Tactical Arbitrage. Certainly at this point, it is not a module there, but a lot of the times that you're doing a private label search on private label style softwares, there's specific parameters that you're looking for. Now, one of those parameters would be that it's only one person selling the item. So what you might do is remove if the number of sellers is less than one and more than one. Because if there's just one seller on a product, then more than likely this is, by possibly a private label. There's other conditions out there that will cause there to just be one seller. But if you're hunting for private label products, that's one of the parameters that you would want to set. Remove if the number of sellers is less than one and more than one. And then I would also go in there and use your keyword search as well to run your search. And what I did is I started a keyword search just for the term garlic press. And I'm going to just set off my phone, sorry guys.
Detention.
That's the first time my phone's run during a webinar. Maybe because I usually know better than that to keep it on silent. Okay. So as you can see on here, you've got all these different garlic presses, but the beauty about the view data page, or in this case, the view wholesale page, is you've got all these cool little column filters as well. So you can go into this and sort of in a more granular fashion, you can drill down to estimated monthly sales needs to be over a certain amount. You might only want to be looking for the one with sort of estimated sales over a certain amount. And you can complete sort of elements of your search while looking at the different results that have appeared based on that wholesale search. So I've kept the wholesale search really simple. I've just basically done a keyword search and made the number of sellers no more than one. And then from there, you can go in and you can sort of get your product ideas from there and have a look at sort of the different sales ranks, etc., frequency of sales, and so on. So this is just one way to sort of use the wholesale search for maybe some of your private label searches, in conjunction with, say, some of your other softwares, such as the best keyword search terms, for example, that you might be using something like Helium-10 to find. And of course, you've got the nice little visual representations there, and being able to sort of see that. One cool trick you can do is if you find something you really like, by right-clicking and sort of searching Google for the image, you can often find the exact product over on, say, Alibaba or DHgate, because a lot of people don't even bother to change the picture. Now, the good private label guys usually get their stuff and they do a photo shoot themselves specifically for the item, so that you can't easily do that. But in a lot of cases, people are taking the lazy path, and a little bit of a search Google for image, you'll uncover that product anyway.
When it's so easy, like garlic press, though, when there's just no competition.
Yeah, there's no competition for garlic press at all. In fact, there was 167 items just from that one search of the word garlic press. I'm surprised there was that few, actually, 167 items.
And it's not like it's an item that you would like ever replace. Like when you've had one, you have had them all.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I think I do need a new garlic press. Now that we're here, I might have to go shopping.
So we've got Wyan says, I'm viewing from Facebook. Yep, thanks, Wyan. Michael says, thanks, found it. Phil Christensen says, I was hoping after this call you would read me a bedtime story.
Nice.
Is that me or Nate? Nate's got a pretty nice voice too.
No, I'm guessing that's you. Yeah, I actually have to pay Alex for the bedtime stories, but it is worth the premium, guys. And also it's morning there, so he's not tired when he reads them to you.
Crikey, said Hagrid as Harry Potter climbed on his kangaroo. Australianized things a bit there. All right, so anyway, that was a little bit. It wasn't really the focus of this show. It wasn't really about private label. It's just that is a good little thing.
Leave a comment if you would be interested in seeing more private label features added to Tactical Arbitrage. I know it's something absolutely. That is people have asked about, and for now, people have had to use other third-party tools if they do arbitrage and want to get into private label. But yeah, it'd be cool to see what people are thinking. If anybody would be interested in some of those more advanced, more specific to product research, keyword research, stuff like that.
So here is the View the Library page. Now, View the Library works like this. Let me go to the library, so open our library search page as well. Excuse that cough again, guys. I will get to the bottom of what is causing that allergy. 1 year. So the library search.
You've had that cough since I've known you.
It is always this time of year, always August, September, and it is always since I've moved into this house. And the doctors basically said it is 100% an allergy. Yesterday I had an allergy. Yesterday I had an allergy medication, and I didn't cough all day. And this morning I forgot. So the library search. So you can traditionally. I mean, this was born from like searching for used books to then flip on Amazon. And the way that you would normally do that is buy off the lowest merchant fulfilled seller, and then turn around and move it back on the same listing as FBA, because FBA usually will be the one being represented in the buy box as well. So it's win-win. You're digging into the lowest merchant fulfilled, and then you're looking to flip it on right where the buy box is pointing people to purchase. The book category of Amazon is a bit of a fickle beast, though, and so category by category, you might find that those rules aren't always exactly as explained, but that's the general base of it. So this one, for example, we have Amazon.com art of a visual history, and we can see that the buy price is $49.72, and the sell price as an FBA seller is $79.99. So that's so we're looking at $10.63 profit right there. Now, one of the things that you want to have a look at here is the source condition. Now, when the source condition is the same as or better than the buy box condition, then we mark this as green. So in this case, the source condition of this book that you can grab from a merchant fulfilled seller is very good condition. And keep in mind, this is always subjective. The people listing these books, you want to read the description, and it also comes down to the rating of the seller, because if somebody's continuously listing their books as very good and they're covered with highlight and moisture damage, etc., they're going to start to get some bad reviews, and so they might only have, say, an 80% healthy account instead of 100% healthy account for somebody who's always listing correctly. But that aside, for the most part, you want to look for a green condition match, so very good versus good. Now, if I duck over here and open link in a new tab, I can see this this book there for $49.72. Used, very good condition. And what it says is multiple available, new inventory, very minor wear. So that's uncommon. There's not normally multiples available of used books. And it's selling fulfillment on FBA at $79.99, just in good condition with no dust jacket, etc. So I can also see that this book sells at a reasonably good rate, but I can also see that Amazon normally has this in stock. So all of these things need to be taken into account. The history of any product is important, and that's why you should always have a look at your history graph. In this case, I've actually moved over to Amazon, so I'm using the Keeper Graph, as a Keeper Graph plugin works really well over at Amazon. And you'll see that we have the history graph over here as well. That being said, in this particular case, it's come up because there is a used condition book, $49.72, and fulfillment by Amazon used $79.99, and there is no new books at the moment in stock. When the new book comes back into stock, it wouldn't make sense for anybody to purchase your book at $79.99, as the regular price is just $20.47. So case by case, you need to sort of analyze this and see what works for you. You can also go down and we'll have a look at another one here. We've got another one where the source condition is as good as the buy box condition. In this case, it's $20.73 and it's selling for $46.95. And let's have a look at that.
Michael had mentioned, he said the library search is super cool. I used it to source a bunch of video games, but it seems it has changed and I don't get as many results anymore. Thoughts? I used to love it. Has anything changed in the filters?
The best thing for you to do, Michael, is to shoot me a message with a particular search where you felt like you weren't seeing as many. It's hard without comparing it to what you used to see. Sometimes it's as simple as Amazon changing their algorithms, and that can affect the API, and that can affect, the way that we actually use the API. So usually we can adjust. So it's very important that when there are changes that come into play that affect the number of searches that you might see, that we open up a dialogue and we can, like, on a more granular level, analyze that exact search that you're talking about. Video games is probably the reason why, because books follow that very predictable narrative usually of the merchant fulfilled seller not holding the buy box, but the FBA seller holding the buy box. And so that transition from buying from merchant fulfilled to selling as an FBA seller is usually fairly predictable. But video games, being a different form of media, it may not always follow that that particular flow. So we might need to go in and have a look to see whether Amazon's changed anything. They may be putting more merchant fulfilled sellers into that buy box position, and therefore if you're looking at comparing the merchant fulfilled purchase against the merchant fulfilled seller also being the one holding the buy box, then of course those numbers are going to drop off from there. So what I can do is I can run some video game searches myself after this webinar and see whether or not I can identify what's going on there. But we did only just recently add in the library search the options to not just do books. It was originally just books here, but we added in software, CDs and vinyl, movies and TV, and I believed video games were in there as well. But I think actually I removed video games because the results weren't that good. So I'm going to assume, you might want to confirm, did you import the video games by importing bulk product codes? Because I think that video games kind of might have had a problem from the start, which is why I kept it out of this drop-down menu. But you might have been lucky and had a good period where video games were working well. Thanks, I'll pass on some searches. Michael says, it is a really good tool. I'm trying to use it more. Thanks, man. So one of the things about library search that not many people know is this virtual media option. So what you can do, for example, like I just explained a flow where you might be buying from merchant fulfilled, and then we're comparing it against a fulfillment by Amazon buy box holder. So there are cases, of course, when there's nobody holding the fulfillment by Amazon position. And so there's a couple of things that, you know, we could choose to do. We could choose to just go, well, let's not look at that. Let's ignore it. Let's just run away from that product completely and just move on to the next one. Or what we can do is we can use what we came up with, is virtual media. So when the buy box holder is not FBA, we can create a virtual product which calculates the ROI based on a percentage less than the new Amazon buy box price. So this works on the pretense. So let's say an Amazon new price is $100. So what we work on, say, what is somebody willing to pay for a book that's not brand new, but you're like a school student or a college student and you don't want to pay the $100. You're willing to pay $85 for a book which is near new or as new, or maybe you're willing to pay, say, $75 for a book which is like in average condition. But you know, and every dollar you save as a college student is another dollar, you know, you can keep for partying that weekend, I guess. So what we can do here is we can bring in these virtual books so that you've got an indication of what you might be able to sell it for as an FBA seller and still secure the sale over Amazon's new price. So you can either set the figure in which percentage figure that you think is fair there, or you can also set it as variable. Now variable, if you go into the settings page, and I won't open it now in case I reveal my keys, but if you go to the settings page, you can set it for, like I just said, 85% for a like new book, or 80% for a very good book, or 75% for a good condition book, and so on. So you can actually set what you feel is a comfortable range for each of the conditions, and then we'll apply that range accordingly, depending on where the virtual book is, what the condition of that book is based on the virtual FBA. Now for new, we also have virtual media, which is for new. When the buy box holder is not Amazon or an FBA seller, we can create a virtual product using the list price. So what that would be is if we can get the book cheap enough and there's nobody there as an FBA or Amazon seller, then we can use the list price. So let's say the list price is $50 for a book, but we can find the book for $20, but nobody's holding the Amazon or FBA spot. We use the list price to calculate the return on investment. I would recommend, if you can understand how both of these switches work, that you leave these both toggled on. I think they're both extremely useful in finding additional deals that you might otherwise not find. So aside from that, most of the filters are the same. So you've got a few additional filters, some that you may never touch, like only show the publication years between a certain range, etc. You might not use that, but they are there. And you can also search not just from Amazon, but you can search using a little bit like product search, where you're searching from Abe Books or Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, etc. So I recommend that you run some searches from those areas as well, just so that you can get a good indication of what's out there. Sometimes you'll find something in Barnes & Noble, just like with online arbitrage, which is much cheaper for a period of time, but then what is selling on Amazon. So it does the comparison between the Barnes & Noble price And of course, we've built the conditions into play there as well. So if A Books has a condition of average, we've matched that against good condition. And their vernacular may not have been exactly the same. It might have been, they might be called average, above average, excellent. We've matched that alongside, good, very good, and like new, for example, so that they are in line with the conditions that you would expect in that exchange. So that is library search. Is there any more questions people have about library search? There is also, of course, the option to search trade-ins. Trade-ins is something, so let's say, for example, you find a book that Amazon will always give you $32.95 for because they know that they can sell it for that. If you find a book that's listed lower than that, then essentially if you're getting it for $24 and you know Amazon's going to give you $32.95 for it, and there is a trade on return on investment, which is positive, and that's basically money for jam. You're essentially just getting that book and sending it straight back in for the trade-in price. The problem with trade-ins, of course, is that they're extremely rare, so that the chances of finding trade-ins is less likely than others. But it's always worth keeping the trade-in feature active as well, because you may find some things that you might otherwise not find. Don't worry, I'm not dying. See what I mean by the trade-in price being fairly empty here. It is fairly rare to find books with trade-ins, but they do exist, and I'm sure if I search through enough pages, there will be a trade-in appear. I won't go through every single page now, but that's not super common. It's just an extra little tool in the tool belt for you to know about. Quite a few books here have appeared. I just want to mention as well, when it's red, that's kind of like you might still want to check it out, but in this case, this is a good quality book, and the FBA seller is a like new quality book, and so in that particular case, I would assume that the like new quality book is in much better condition, and you wouldn't necessarily be able to sell that good book for the same price as that condition. So condition's a very important metric when you're dealing with used books. I may even have my virtual books. You can see in my column filters here, I actually have acceptable just turned off completely for the source condition. I try to avoid books in acceptable condition. And there are some new quality books that are not being shown here as well. And if I switch on just source condition of new, and I mess about in the column filters all the time. I'm from an Excel background, and it doesn't matter whether I'm doing product search, reverse search, any of the other searches. I always do the least amount of filtering in the search itself and do the most amount of filtering in the column filters here, because I feel like I can dance around my different sets of conditions much more easily. Like just then I was looking at used books, but now I'm only looking at the new books. And to me, I think it's the best way to work, but everybody's going to have their own flow, which is why we have, all of those different options here. We have a massive comment from Yazid, so let's read it here. Maybe a tip. Wholesale search. Search the top selling items and then collect the seller's store name and ID using the extension and go to the wholesale tab and search each seller using the seller ID. You'll get a list of many items these sellers source, where the seller did their homework and found them, either trying to look for the same items or find the suppliers. I also go to other sellers selling the same items and search their store. Yeah, so that's something in the wholesale search. If I was just going to reduce that down to a good tip, I found many profitable items, including hazmat, that nobody's competing in this way. Thanks, Yazid. So that's just taking advantage of the search seller products. So one thing that a lot of people don't know about with search seller products, as well as Yazid's great tip there, is that in the results page, and let me just go into, say, some of the flips results that we have found. If you go into the number of sellers with tactical edge, it'll pull up a list of who the sellers are. And from this page, always takes a few seconds because we've got to dive in and analyze, who's selling what and how much stock. There's a little icon here called seller name, and it tells. And if I click on this, it's going to extract the seller's products. It's going to load those ASINs into a reverse search for you. So one thing that might be useful, Yazid, is if we can also make that push to wholesale for you. So that's something that we might want to do. At the moment, this pushes it to a reverse search. This guy's got quite a few ASINs actually. This particular seller, I expected that to be a 5-second affair, but it's still going through and pulling out products from his store. Anyway, from this little icon here, that's going to push through to make a reverse search for it. But over in the wholesale page, we could also grab that seller if we wanted to, and we could push that into search seller products and list his seller ID there, and we can run a breakdown of what he's selling on his page as well. So that is a cool tip, Yazid. Thank you. I'm going to say your name 15 different times today in different ways, I think. This guy's got a great comment. Alex, you need a beard to match Nate. So I have tried, but mine is nowhere near as good as Nate's. Nate's got an awesome pirate-looking beard, and mine is revealing my age by bringing out all the salt and pepper through there. I haven't actually had the gray reach the top of my head yet, but down here, always look older with a bit of scruff on the face. Michael says, yes, wholesale is an amazing place. I actually find some awesome RA items there. Facebook user says, Nate's hair is on fleek.
My wife literally cut my hair.
And Valerie likes the tip. That's good to hear, because sometimes I feel like I'm just talking. I mean, I know the software backwards, sideways, and forwards, and I can just ramble about all the bits and pieces it does all day long. But a lot of people watching already know tactical arbitrage really well, and so you might not always get a nugget from the stuff that I say, but anybody who's brand new to tactical arbitrage should get a lot out of it. So if you are brand new to tactical arbitrage, you may be looking and saying, hey, I don't have the library feature. I don't have the flips feature. So these are both features of either the flips pack or the full suite. If you just got the online arbitrage pack, you'll be having the product search and the reverse search, and wholesale can be bundled in with an online arbitrage plus wholesale pack as well. I personally think that flips is highly underrated. Flips is a fantastic way to find extra products, and the settings that you're looking for are all listed down the bottom. Now, I did just notice one little bug where we were getting some additional results in there that we're not supposed to get. So I'm going to take to check which of these conditions is filtering in those results. I'll have that dealt with today, though. But the three primary conditions are: show if the average price when Amazon is out of stock, least, and you put in whatever number you want here. See, let's say I put at least 2 times the average Amazon sale price. Now, that's the condition of the search that I'm running here. And what you can see here is Amazon for this particular product is normally, say, $4.34. You can't read that because it's probably quite small, but I can see it says $4.34. And the average price when Amazon is out of stock is $7.99. So that actually is a low-priced item. I wouldn't sell that. It's too low-priced for my liking, but it does actually tick the boxes of meeting those conditions of being higher, like a higher price than normal. Look at this one, for example. This one's selling for buy box price of $22.83 when Amazon is out of stock. But once again, you've got to look at the history. Amazon's normally in stock at $2.62. So this isn't something that I would, wait enthusiastically for Amazon to jump back in at $2.62 and buy up, because it seems like historically they've been on this product without selling out more than, just very recently for a short time. This one, for example, though, once again, a low-priced product. All of these are quite low priced because the search has just started. I think that if I ran this search longer, it's going to bring out a lot more products. But basically what you're looking for here is products that temporarily in stock with Amazon for a lower price than what the third-party sellers are selling it for at a higher price. And then you can use a tool like Keeper. We don't have Keeper built into Tactical Arbitrage anymore because we were asked to remove it by Amazon. But you can definitely go over to Keeper and insert these ASINs and track it in Keeper to look for these products for when they come into stock at the lower price. And you can get an alert sent to your phone or sent to your email to let you know that the Trolls World Tour birthday cake character candle set is now in stock. And if it's one of these products that goes in and out of stock all the time, I don't have a lot of great examples here because the search is so fresh, then that might be something that you wanted to jump on and grab when you get that alert. So that is the best way to use flips, in my opinion. But there are two other conditions here. Show if any average sale price condition is at least 1.7 times the lowest sale price. That is a good one for you to see. Let's say, for example, the lowest sale price is sometimes $10, but usually it's $30. So in other words, occasionally it goes on sale for, say, $10. So what you would do is you would set your alert in that case for the lowest price condition. So you can set it for that $10. So at the time that it does drop, and it might be a seasonal sale, like it could be a Black Friday sale, I don't know. That's at the time that you want them to jump in there because that alerts come and purchase those. Because historically, it's always, say, $30. It just temporarily is $10. That's when you want to get it. But if you want to catch that particular kind of thing live, then the last condition here is what you want, which is show if the current buy box sale price, which is the right this very moment buy box sale price, is a percentage lower than the average sale price condition. So let's say today there's a sale on, which is, say it's $10 and it's normally $30, then that's when you won't even need to set a Keeper alert for that one, because if you're getting a current buy box sale price alert for right now, then you can really go in there and grab that product when the product first appears on the page. Now, that's going to be a little bit dependent on what your cache settings are up here. It's also going to be a little bit dependent on how closely you're monitoring the results come in, because sometimes a sale obviously only lasts for a limited period of time, and in that particular case, you want to jump on that. So that's a couple of the things that you might want to know about in the flips area, which is library and view flips. There's a bunch of different ways you can search these. Up the top of the page here, you can either do a quick search, single or up to 100 ASINs, and you can either comma separate these, or you can put ASIN, as B01, blah, 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 and you just comma separate those, or you can put them in a column. You might want to do a quick keyword search. This is great if you just wanted to check if there's any Amazon flips in the word, action figure or Lego or something like that you might be ungated for that somebody else is not ungated for. You might be suddenly ungated for Funko Pop toys. Then Funko would be a great keyword search to use in there. There's also best sellers, which was born from the relationship that we have with the wonderful Storefront Stalker, which I recommend you get as a standalone extension as well. Storefront Stalker is an excellent Chrome extension to help you extract ASINs from any Amazon category page, storefront, etc. But we also implemented some of that functionality into Tactical Arbitrage with the Scan Best Sellers tool. So you can actually go ahead and select, say, Scan Best Sellers toys and games, or you can get a bit more granular and go arts and crafts, for example. And if I was to start running that search there, it's going to go and have a quick look at, what number of arts and crafts products we can get. and it's already started a search there of 7,859 products, and it's going to go through that particular category of toys and games. So that's the same with library as well. There's a few different things at the top here. You can import a category list or codes. You can do the 100 ASINs, etc., or ISBNs, which are very book relevant. And there's also quick keyword search in there as well. You can also search websites as well, like I mentioned earlier. And the last thing I want to say before I close off the screen share is to remember to always check your always be scanning. And I mentioned column filters before, but a cool trick with always be scanning, if you're checking it all the time, is to go over to your column filter for last updated. And I just keep this set at like 1 day. If I'm checking this all the time, I want to see the stuff that's most fresh, because after 28 days, the things that appear on always be scanning start to fall off the page. And you want to sort of, if you want to keep any of those for replenishables, you're going to have to save that into a save folder somewhere along those 28 days. But if you're checking this all the time and you don't want to like trip over stuff you've already looked at, then try setting this last updated in the last, the last day or the last couple of days, and then you'll only see the most recent stuff. And that's going to be good as well if you've got stuff that's sort of out of stock, that's in stock now, but might be out of stock after somebody else has seen that item, or maybe it's just a great price over at Walmart that day, and just regular Walmart buyers have actually got to it first. Heaven forbid actual customers get to an item before us FBA sellers. We can't have that, so we have to have our fingers on the pulse. And in this case, if you have a look at today's products here, we've got a bunch of different stuff here, and you always want to check that you're looking at an exact match. And let's have a look at this frying pan here. Frying pan is $41.01 over at Walmart. I haven't checked to see whether or not I can or cannot sell this particular brand, but I can tell by this graph right here that it's selling for about $82. Some people don't like to sell when Amazon's on the listing as well, but I've always found that as long as you price accordingly, maybe a little bit sort of alongside or under them, then you'll get rotated into the buy box if your account health is up to scratch. I don't normally recommend undercutting other sellers for any reason, but when you're going up against Amazon, if your product sits for too long, you may need to price accordingly. So I can see this item is selling reasonably consistently. I would definitely expect anything I send in there to sell. What is that? $41. Let's go over to Amazon, have a look. Selling for $85.99. There's only 8 of those left in stock at Amazon, so there's even a chance that they're going to sell out by the time I got some of those in stock. Actually, that's kind of an interesting product. So that's just sitting and always be scanning. The best thing about always be scanning is you're not even doing any work. It is literally just going and finding you items with a positive return on investment that meet a few conditions, and it's putting that stuff onto a page for you. So if you're feeling super lazy and you don't want to go through all of the the searching procedures for the day, it's a Netflix kind of day, then this is a good place to hit up and see whether or not you've got any bad boys like this just sitting on your page. And the best thing about this is it's completely randomized amongst the entire Amazon catalog. So you're not getting the same stuff as, say Nate's getting in his account, or Chris is getting, or anybody, or Yazid's getting, or Lem's getting, or James is getting, or Michael's getting, or Sky's getting, or anybody's getting. You're getting completely different stuff. So today I've got a frying pan, and the frying pan has got a decent profit. In fact, we're looking at 29%. I would go as far as saying this is going to be an oversized product. In fact, it says small oversize. I have to take that into account. It's heavier than normal, so the margin's got to be there. But in this case, the margin does look pretty decent. So I would want to drill into that one a bit more. Certainly there's a few matching elements. The UPCs match. I know that much because that's actually a requisite of being on this page is the UPCs have got to match. But there's always other things you want to match to be confirmed, like in this case, it's giving me the model number right there is 4013 3N31. So, whenever I find something, I try not to get too excited until I've actually found all the details. But let me just see whether or not I can 3N31. I'll just do it. 3N3. 3N3. Oh, there we go. Item model number. I tried to see that down. I knew that would be there. I just scrolled right past it. 4013 3N31. Okay, so that's the same product. So, yeah, that's a cool one. You might want to check into that one yourself and see whether or not. That's the problem with these things, though. It's like the garlic press situation. You do a webinar, and there's always stuff that turns up, and whoever's watching it probably has a look. Here's something where the UPCs match, which I wouldn't sell, just for the simple reason that they've changed the packaging. Such a silly reason, but you never know where you're going to get that bad review from. It's the exact same product for all intents and purposes, but if the packaging is different, you might get somebody sitting at home who says, "This is not what I ordered." So
I haven't had Golden Grams in a while.
I love Always Be Scanning page. There's always something cool, and I love FBA in general because I see stuff that I think, oh, I wonder if my kids would like that.
Christopher says abs is fire. He's calling it abs now.
Abs is, I mean, you've heard of 6-minute abs. You've heard of 7-minute abs. But this is 6-minute abs. Oh my God, we have to do an entire marketing campaign just based on Always Be Scanning, rebranded as abs and the 6-minute abs.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, what do? We got to do a webinar, like maybe the next one, 6-minute abs.
James had mentioned that he wanted maybe some tips on bundles and multi-packs.
Okay, so the bundling. We've had a bundling feature in the works for a long time, and something got in the way of the bundling feature. So the bundling feature, I'll talk about it in a second, but the thing I wanted to complete first, which turned out to be a Goliath, and I'll see if I can pull it up. And I do show this. Oh, I can't show it right now because I've got my US VPN on, and I've got an IP block for anybody who's not me. So I blocked myself by turning on a VPN. Anyway, so we started this better, faster, smoother version of Tactical Arbitrage. And the deeper we got into it, the more my developers said, you know what would be great? It'd be great if you'd stop adding things to Tactical Arbitrage while we are recreating Tactical Arbitrage with better code, because every time you put something new into Tactical Arbitrage, we've got to also do that a second time in the new version of. So we've had to kind of slow down features to a degree so that we can push this newer, better, faster version of Tactical Arbitrage over the line. And it is better and faster. Like if I click at the moment on page 2 on this version, which we're already rebranding in developer circles as old TA, if I click page 2 on here, it's not super slow, but to me it could be faster. It's the way we've got the new version of Tactical Arbitrage set up is, I think it's even faster than that. Just in general, it feels better, smoother, faster. But there's a few things that I'm finding sometimes, like if I operate things a certain way in what we call old TA, which is this TA, like just dragging a column, it still works better in old TA than it does in new TA. And so we want everything to feel better. Otherwise, there's no point in us releasing it yet. So anyway, that's kind of been in the way of us working on the newer features. But we started by adding in this feature called, and I'll find it. We started by pulling in this ability to search reverse search an ASIN right here on the page. And unless that's temporarily inactive in relation to this bundling feature, it should still be here. So if I go here, is the reverse search an ASIN Oh yeah, here we go. See this reverse button here. So the reverse search button here is going to actually reverse search this exact Gallic press to find and see if it exists on any of the online arbitrage resources. And I just noticed it's not on the Always Be Scanning page for some reason, because there's no reason why it wouldn't be on that page as well. So especially for people who've got the online arbitrage online arbitrage tier. So I will add that to there. So that's, see, we'll find stuff all the time when we do these late night with TAs, because I'm the one who talks to the developers each day, and this is me like actually looking directly at and operating the system. But little things like that do squeak through the cracks. Anyway, so the idea is, right, you could reverse search from here, and you would do that on something which was a bundle item, and then you would add the different bundle items from the different stores by inserting the ASINs that make up that bundle and having it go back and tell you that, okay, well, you can get those ingredients from Walmart for part one of the item, and or let's say it's a bunch of packet of trading cards plus a Pokemon toy, and the bundle's selling really well. So you'd be able to reverse search that bundle by what's called the bundleizer feature, which is coming hopefully in the next 6 months. It's been in the cards forever. So you'll be able to look back and say, okay, well, the Pokemon toy is in these 4 places, but the cheapest is over at Walmart, and the trading cards are only found at Miniature Market. And if we put those together, then the return on investment by putting those items together versus that bundle over at Amazon is going to be, X%. So that feature's been in the works for a long time. It is a reasonably complex feature, and we've had a lot of demand from it since we started sort of hinting at it. I've had to stop hinting at it because I know the feature is only partially built, and we've got to really complete the Laravel upgrades to tactical arbitrage first. But as far as bundle tips goes, honestly, the bundleizer feature when it's released is going to be the best tip, because it's going to be a tool which directly assists you to create bundles for one, and also to reverse engineer bundles is the other. So the bundleizer is something to look for in the future.
So we're going to have abs and buns in our marketing. It's
6 minute buns.
6 minute buns. Buns and abs.
So anyway, that's a teaser for a feature that is too far away to properly tease yet. But the entire, the napkin sketches are all mapped out. The conversations with the developers have all been done as to how to do it. This reverse feature is actually part one of what was required for us to. So you'll be able to do a reverse feature and then select one of the items that appears and migrate that over to the bundleizer. And that's part of why this reverse feature was built. This was actually stage one. It was put there for a reason, purely for the future bundleizer, and it's been sitting there somewhat. It's extremely useful still, but it's also somewhat dormant in that it hasn't received its Super Saiyan status yet. It's still got to blast off into its most advanced form. But yeah, there is cool stuff coming. I feel like the features have slowed down a little on releases. I mean, I say that having just recently released both the Always Be Scanning feature and the View Inventory feature, which are both massive features. The View Inventory feature is so useful, particularly with those little alerts that appear whenever something sells, or when your shipment lands at Amazon. There's something really great about that little ding ding. Like Lem said, it's a Pavlovian kind of makes you rush to the screen and have a look to see what sold, or what just arrived at Amazon. So I dig the new features. They were big features, but I feel like the rate that I normally release features, which is big things all the time, has been slightly slowed down by the fact that I want to pump out this this version 3.0 of Tactical Arbitrage, which is it's going to look very similar, but it's going to just feel a lot better. Once that is done, there is a bunch of stuff sitting in the pipeline. The stuff that's sitting in the pipeline will include some of the things we talked about tonight. It might include some additional tools for private label, without saying too much, or it certainly will include things like branching into things like the bundleizer, etc. But we can get cracking on that stuff as a development team the second we get past this current task. And every day I dive in there and I check it, and I always find stuff and say, come on, guys, we've got to fix this too. And come on, guys, this is, it's still not right. And I don't want to release something which is, 90% okay. I'm happy with releasing something that's 95 or 99% okay, because anything which I've missed will quickly be identified by the beta testers, etc. We're going to make it so that you can actually toggle between old TA and the upgraded TA anyway, and you can bounce backwards between the ones that you choose, and you'll be able to send in support tickets, and our support tickets will identify whether you sent it from old TA or whether it's from the new platform, so we can see, we can quickly get it right. So it is very, very soon, because it's very, very close. And after that's out, we'll quickly dive into all the new features. And at that point, all new features will only be going into new TA. What is the purpose of competitive range from the buy box? Christopher's actually answered that. Competitive range from the buy box shows you how many sellers are within X% of the buy box currently. So if you have that feature set to 2%, and there are 50 total sellers, only 5 of those may be within 2% of the current buy box. So, and that comes down to price. So let's say it's the buy box is $20, and 2% range from that buy box is going to be 40 cents. So you might find somebody is $20.18. Sorry, let's go. $20.18 and $20.32. And you've got it set to 2%, and those two sellers will appear. But then if the next guy is like $20.46, then he won't be counted in that particular range. So that's kind of how that works. And a lot of people set this low, like 2 to 5%. We used to have like 10, 35, 50. And I said to my guys, can you tell me how many people are like using anything over 10%? And he said it's like 5 people out of everybody using it. Everybody's using between 2 and 5, with just a few people using 10. So we just removed all the settings which were confusing, just down to 2, 5, and 10. But most people use 2 or 5. I think 5's good, but a lot of the wholesale courses, etc., recommend only to worry about that 2% range. Also keep in mind though that things change all the time. So what is let me see. So what is basically correct on the day of listing it? Oh, there won't be anything in there because that's going to be a private label seller. So what is correct on the day of listing it might change by the time you've actually sent your stuff into Amazon. So just keep in mind that that things change, but sometimes things sit a certain way for a long time. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to take Christopher's question off.
I like this wide screen. It's so roomy right now.
Yeah. I'm finding Amazon takes quite a while to check things in. Can I reasonably expect for things I purchased today, send in when they arrive? Will it still be a profitable item? So are you sending things by USPS? Because apparently there's a problem with the sorting machines lately. But that's sort of can't really say that. Yeah, I don't know. So I think it really depends on the warehouse you're sending to, whether Amazon checks things in slow or fast. Some people will be able to answer better than it's just the way of whatever that week is for volume and stuff. I think there would be some answers from the community as to more granular reasons for why your particular item isn't going in as fast as others. But it probably does come down to the split of your products across warehouses and where the warehouse is situated from you and how busy they are, volume, etc. Remember, if you're new to Tactical Arbitrage and you want to start a new trial, use coupon code ER10. That's ER10 for a 10-day extended trial instead of a regular scrappy 7 days. You can get that beefier 10-day option. What else do we want to say? Anything else we missed? Anything else anybody wants to ask? There was a 20% prize for somebody and asking the best question. I'm going to give that to Yazid for his wholesale search tip here, which you can revisit on the Facebook page in the comments if you like.
Nice, congrats, Yazid.
Yazid, please shoot me a message and I will decrease your membership by 20%. Thank you very much for that. It was a very cool tip.
Yazid. We said we'd say his name a lot.
So what do you reckon? Next one, in addition to other content questions and answers that we will come up with, we'll also do 6-minute ads and cover
6-minute buns
in a bit more detail. And hopefully by then I can do a bit more of a deep dive into the about to be released new platform of Tactical Arbitrage. I'll be pushing my guys hard between now and then. And the beauty of that will be once it's out of the way, I can jump into the many tasks waiting.
I think Yazid said we picked him as a winner before. Oh well. I think I do remember.
I got so many discounts. Well, watch the Late Night with Tactical Arbitrage and engage in the.
It pays to play, baby. It pays to play.
That's it.
Keep saying bundleizer.
Keep saying bundleizer.
Bundleizer.
Maybe we can get into a discussion about what the napkin drawings look like on that next week and how it's going to how that's going to roll out. I'm not sure what the next Late Night with Tactical Arbitrage is going to look like, but I do know that Nate will be there and I will be there, and possibly Christopher Graham. We'll check in with his OA Challenge schedule. Make sure you do jump in and have a look at OA Challenge. I think it's closed to new people at the moment, but it's reasonable. What is it? Every month or 6 weeks, and it goes for 2-3 weeks. I should know exactly.
It is. There's been 2 launches so far, and there was about 4 weeks between the end of the last one and then this one starting, I believe.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
So Chris will probably be in the next Late Night with TA because I think OA Challenge will have completed by then.
I don't think he'll be here. I think he's got. I think he's going to be doing a live for the next 4 weeks on Tuesdays.
We've lost him forever.
He's doing good. He's doing the people's work.
He is. He's doing a fantastic job. The content.
Yeah, the reviews of the OA Challenge have been phenomenal. He's done just an amazing job.
Yeah. Even if you think you know everything about OA and TA, there'll be things that you discover in that OA Challenge that you don't know about, because Chris looks at every kind of search from every angle. So, yeah, fully recommend it. And in fact, we have a review right here saying OA Challenge is awesome. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yes. Yep. Cool.
Okay, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up for this week. We normally try to keep it to an hour. We've got a little bit over. I appreciate everybody for turning out. Thank you so much, Nate, for joining us. Are you ready for the outro? Cover your ears because the music is loud. And we'll see you next time.